Steven Horsford. He's a Democrat of Nevada and also the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. Congressman, thank you for joining us tonight. We have a lot to get to, but we're starting with your reaction to the retaliatory strikes the U.S. launched against Iran-backed targets in Syria and Iraq on Friday, and separately against Houthi rebels in the Red Sea region last night. As our involvement in the Middle East conflicts grows, in part because of the Israel-Hamas war, are you worried about what it could mean for Democrats and the president in this election year?
Well, thank you for having me, Reverend Rev. I'm actually here live in Mesquite, Nevada, which is a rural part of my district. We're celebrating our True to the Blue, get out the vote for the president. Later, I will be joining the president for an event in the historic west side part of my district. But first, as you said, my prayers go out to the three soldiers who paid the ultimate life, the ultimate price, their life in the course of their duty. The president received their remains, and this is why it is so important for us to have the most qualified, serious, compassionate commander-in-chief in President Joe Biden, so that we can not only protect our interest here domestically, but that we're leading around the world. And so, yes, I think we will continue to do what's necessary to hold those responsible, and President Biden has indicated he will do just that.
Now, results are in from South Carolina's Democratic primary, the first nominating contest for Democrats, and in this case, the first real test of the president's rapport with the black voters that were pivotal to his nomination. An election as well 4 years ago because of the enthusiastic black vote. As CBC chair, what have you heard from your members and from black voters since the results came out about Biden's convincing win?
Well, first, I want to commend Mr. Clyburn, who you just had on your show, and of course, the president and his campaign, Chairman Harrison and the DNC. Not only did you see historic turnout, but you also saw a higher percentage of African Americans voting in South Carolina. Here in Nevada, we already have seen 93,000 people turn out. That's higher than the turnout 4 years ago, and we still have the actual election on Tuesday. We're seeing a lot of energy here in Mesquite and throughout the state, because we understand what is what's on the line and what's at risk. We have a clear choice between the strong leadership of President Biden and Vice President Harris and the failed agenda that we've already experienced under Donald Trump. So we're excited here in Nevada. We're going to deliver another historic win to the president and to the vice president on Tuesday. But then we have a lot more work to do, because Nevada is not only first in the West, but we're also a battleground state. So we matter in Nevada.
The White House is touting strong January jobs numbers this weekend. The U.S. economy added more than 350,000 jobs in January. According to the Labor Department, unemployment remained at 3.7%. Some Democrats have been critical of the president's reelection campaign, emphasizing the Biden economy as a talking point, because the strong economic numbers have yet to result in a boost in his approval ratings. Looking at this new jobs report, what are your thoughts on that? Now that primary season has officially opened up for Democrats, should they be pushing the president's economic achievements here?
Well, the president's economic achievements are the people's economic achievements. And well, I commend President Biden and Vice President Harris and their administration and Democrats in Congress who passed the historic legislation that the people demanded us to pass. That is what's creating 14.8 million jobs, the most of any president during the first 3 years of their presidency. This is what we're seeing with the tremendous GDP growth and economic recovery. We're also seeing historic small businesses being started here in Nevada. We've had 185,000 new small businesses started just in the last 3 years. I had the SBA administrator and the vice president here last week talking about opening more access to loans and support to access to capital. So it's not only about jobs, but it's also about economic prosperity and wealth building. Yes, we want good paying jobs, labor jobs, but we also want to be the creators of wealth and create those opportunities for every community, regardless of the zip code and regardless of what area of the country that's happening in.
You mentioned Nevada, the next Democratic primary that will be in your home state on Tuesday. President Biden is campaigning there right now. You said you'll be joining him shortly. Republicans will hold their caucus 2 days later. What are your predictions in both contests, Mr. Chairman?
Well, Reverend Sharpton, President Biden is going to have another big win here in Nevada on Tuesday. I know because there's a lot of energy there. We understand the stakes, but we also are not taking anything for granted. We know that there's a lot of work to do. President Biden carried Nevada 4 years ago with 2.4% of the vote. And yes, Donald Trump has been here. He was here in my district last week. I expect that he and the MAGA Republicans that follow him will also come here. But the difference is President Biden is fighting for economic opportunity for everybody. He's fighting for a woman's right to make her own health care decision. He's fighting to make college more affordable so that students and parents don't have the weight of debt. They're fighting to make sure that we lower the cost of housing. What is Donald Trump doing? He's trying to prevent border security legislation from passing because he doesn't want America to have a win. Forget about the politics of the issue. Let's focus on the real issue that's facing America. Donald Trump asked Black America 4 years ago, what do you have to lose? And then he appointed the most conservative Supreme Court justices. And because of that, our rights for women, for the LGBTQ plus community, for people of color, for voting have been eroded. But we have a message for Donald Trump. We're not going back, and we will not be silent.
We're all celebrating Black History Month, but I was disturbed this week by the news that a statue of Jackie Robinson was stolen from a Wichita, Kansas park and later found burned beyond repair in a trash can. Thankfully, Major League Baseball will replace the statue this Wednesday. The pro baseball pioneers won a 105th year, and the MLB has also pledged funding for the primarily urban youth league that uses the park and honors Robinson's famous number 42. But still, Congressman, what do you take away from yet another monument to a Black trailblazer being vandalized as we open Black History Month in this political climate?
Well, as you just said, we're starting Black History Month. And what do we have? We have a tragic incident where these vandals stole Jackie Robinson's statue, and later it was found burned. What does that say about the nature of the civility and our politics, the attacks on Blackness and Black people in this country? We talk about our history and the systemic racism and discrimination. There are some who want to rewrite that history, deny that slavery even existed. They don't want to associate it as a cause for the Civil War. But these are the issues that still remain. And this is why we need the strong and resolute leadership of President Biden and Vice President Harris to bring us together as a nation, not to divide us, to build up our communities, not to tear them down. So I commend the MLB and the Jackie Robinson Foundation. The Congressional Black Caucus stands with them to make sure the legacy of Jackie Robinson continues to be honored.
Talking about legacy, I'm out of time, but I must ask you briefly about the Congressional Black Caucus standing with the rest of many of us around the legacy of Joe Madison, the Black Eagle who we lost this week, who'd been a voice and an activist for so long. No one had a greater legacy, in my opinion. Worked with him through many things over decades, and I was happy to see the caucus raise the legacy of Joe Madison. Thank you for being with us, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Reverend Sharpton. our love and respect to Joe Madison and to all of the journey on your show today as well.
Thank you to the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus and Congressman in Nevada, Steven Horsford.